Let's get it off
Makes
the hills
sense.
and put it out here.
Well, exactly.
See, it's neat to say it's possible, but to figure out the mechanics of how it works, that's two different things. Because we can say, yeah, it's possible, but until you know what the mechanics of the possibility is,
Right.
it's improbable.
Right.
And that's what the problem is with ghost boxes and everything else, is we know how they work. So we know that, yeah, it's possible that the amplifier circuit is picking up EVP through EMF
Right,
coming
right.
through.
Right.
But we can't eliminate the garbage.
Right. So you can't, you're right. You can't use it
We
as
can't
evidence.
validate the real from
Right.
the actual random word generation that's occurring just because of the nature of the English language and the scan rate of the device.
Right.
So we can't validate what we're getting. And science will look at it and say, well, you've got all this other interference going on, and it's invalidating. You're adding garbage to your mix, and there's no way to take that garbage out
Right. So it's not.
to hear what you're really getting. So that's the reason why it's not good for scientific evidence. Now, for entertainment and to ooh and ah people and to actually hear those words,
Right.
priceless. You know, it's
Yeah.
great on an investigation because people go, oh wow, especially if their name gets mentioned or something.
Right. By random choice.
But what's entertaining is not necessarily scientific.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Understood.
What you would call that is anecdotal evidence.
That's why I won't.
Anecdotal evidence means, gee, it seems to be responding to what we're doing, but we can't prove the mechanics as to how that's happening.
Right.
So it's anecdotal evidence. It's like coincidental evidence. Is
Even
it
though-
real? It could be,
I'm like,
but we
You're
can't
asking
determine one way or the other.
Right.
you know, I mean,
And
granted,
using
you don't get paid
using
shit.
an argument that,
You're flying
oh, but it
in
said
a
my
hotel
name.
room. And part of it
But
is
how many
so
other
they
names
can
did it
draw
say?
a crowd to the event.
Or how many other words did it say that weren't?
They're
Right.
know,
You ask
relatable
it.
to what
Yeah.
you're
You ask
doing.
it a question. It's like
And-
totally off the wall.
And what you
Has
find,
Nothing.
people always remember what they got that was right, but they don't really pay attention to the shit
You
that was
got
wrong.
You're right.
So what
Gotcha.
happens is they're sitting there, they're looking at everything, and they go, oh, but it said this, this, and this, but then you have 100 other things it said that had
Yeah.
nothing to do with it. So you have 10 things that were right and 100 things that were
It's hit and
wrong.
miss.
You're
Yeah.
dealing with random chance. You've got to eliminate random chance from it in order for it to be solid. And that's where the problem runs in with these
I
devices.
totally agree.
And the people that defend them get all upset.
Yep.
They hate me and they say, oh, but it's this, and I believe that it's this. And I said, well,
So unless
I don't want to trouble your belief system.
But when you explain it like
But,
you just did,
but if we want to look at the validity of it as scientific evidence, it has to stand up to a different standard than your entertainment.
right.
So it's a little bit different standard to have to compare it to. See, in science, evidence has to be falsifiable.
Right.
In order to falsify it, you have to understand it. And if we don't understand it, it's interesting, but we really can't make a conclusion from it yet. So we have to understand the mechanic of what's going on for us to analyze it and be able to determine
and
what's
then
actually.
he'll say,
You're so smart.
I'm
glad
It's
you're with us.
just the rules of
It
science.
is. It is. I mean, it's
Anyone
common-
can do it. You don't have to be Einstein. You just have to know the steps and follow them. And when you see something you can't explain, go, hey, ooh, look here. Let's look at this stronger, you know?
Yeah.
Evidence has to be able to
Yeah,
withstand
accurate.
scrutiny.
Right.
And if you don't debunk your evidence, someone else will at a most inopportune time.
Yeah.
And it's
No
generally
matter how
not a
strong
happy
and
occasion
What they
when
think
that
they
happens.
have.
Please call November.
But tonight, the best evidence is our own bodies, our own
Well,
feelings.
now that
Wow.
we all stink pretty good from sweat.
Well, you don't. You had a shower today.
Through this.
Well, but I've
Huh?
been sweating like a pig.
Then he's still.
I'll tell you what, it feels nice out here.
It does.
And you need to just bring your toy out here, but we catch just as much stuff here. A lot of times, when people are sitting here taking our break and you're
Yep.
quiet, you'll see the scuff of the stuff walking. You hear the feet, see the stones move through here.
Because he's made friends with Scotty Rourke.
We had a lady that crashed into that telephone pole there. When the year Bobby opened, they died. Cops came, this, that, and the other. Claimed the lady came out of the door
that's
and brought some
telephone pole?
tablecloths. That's the telephone pole. Where you're standing was another
Gotta
man
have some.
by the last name of Carter. He was 21. He lived a couple blocks up the street from me back in the
That's how that works.
80s. He came here to celebrate his 21st birthday. When he was ready to leave that night,
You hit that.
no, a taxi cab came down here, ran out of control, and ran
dying.
over him and killed him
There
here.
you go.
And then you got
That
that over
telephone
there.
pole up there was
Yeah.
from a 16, 17-year-old kid that died about 4 years ago crashing into it. On the end down inside that parking lot, we had a man shot in the head and one shot in the neck.
What the heck? I mean, this is like a you know,
You
they're not
got
like
it.
curves or
And last summer, we had a kid that came up over that end there and tumbled his truck 3 times across the road, and he's dead.
wow. I mean, and you look at the strip of highway.
Yeah.
There's not anything here that would cause you to crash. I mean, if you look at it,
I know. Double lane highway, nice and straight.
yeah.
Now the telephone poles are close to the road. Now, if you're distracted, that could cause a problem. But so every time you turn around, and I find dead birds laying out here along this side all the time too, which is a little creepy. Yep. Lots of stuff.
I have to say, I'm not disappointed in Bobby's. I think it's been very good.
Good.
Anyway.
I haven't had any demonic experience or anything yet, but I've found some really good evidence.
Yeah.
This has been good in a whole different way. Last time it was all physical manifestations and stuff, but we didn't prove anything.
You're not downstairs yet.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the night is early. We can still get all that stuff.
Seriously.
But I'm more excited about the data that
Yeah.
we're seeing.
You're logging all
To me, that's worth more than someone getting goosed or whatever, or someone crying. Or,
I like it because each one looks like a different fingerprint.
yeah, and I have this hypothesis that may be kind of like what it is, a unique identifier.
Right. But the thing is, right now, since we've been recording, every name I've called out, you can attach
very
to the
cool.
picture of what you've got and see if we can ever match it again.
It didn't take much.
That part of it's very, very cool.
Because that picture.
Just not left
All these pictures, I'm holding my phone, right?
I'm not doing that. I'm just seeing how-
Facebooking.
You can Facebook.
See, I'm putting pictures of what we're doing, like, on my Facebook profile. so
Nice.
it's getting a lot of.
That is a good picture, though. Look.
I don't know. I mean,
It's a
Now
good
your
picture.
stance and look at that face.
I know I look like a badass, don't I?
Yeah, you look at badass and Wanda's standing there. Oh, look, that's awesome. Look at Wanda's face.
A badass.
Yeah, look at Wanda's face towards that. Yeah, right, you're badass. Look at you. I love that. Look at that picture of you.
That
That's
is
I like
that is a
that.
good
I like
picture.
that picture.
That's a good
I
one.
want a picture of that.
I like
I'm going
that
to turn that
picture.
into an 8x10 and put it on my wall.
And now,
that you were
look,
here.
Yeah.
look at Wanda. Wanda's equally as badass. Look at her. She's like, yeah, right. Huh? That's a good picture. I'll send that to you.
Please do.
I will.
Don't
That's a good
forget.
picture.
I really like that. You take all the pictures you want.
Well, I take them like when nobody's. I don't like people to
candid
stand there and
pictures,
pose.
yes.
I like to just randomly
Me too.
shoot them. And I do a lot of.
Oh, I know. Oh, I know.
It's like,
Well, I want to save my cup. No, I'm going to want to drink more. Well,
We got, what, about half an hour before we have to go downstairs?
Yeah, it's 5 after 10.
night's gonna go fast. We're coming back here though, Wanda.
Alrighty.
It's not the first time.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Alrighty.
I'm sure my travels will bring me back this way.
Good.
It's like, you know, it's done nice and good.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Last one in, showing the top lock
I
there.
will do that, Wanda.
Thank you, sir. I'm drunk. Not really, but walking like it.
Quite up, but I'm probably not going to have the liberty of leaving Poasttown to come over here.
Okay. You're leaving right away after. the
Well, it's
event.
not even just that. It's like I'm not just going there to speak. I'm like a judge on the
On what?
match game. I'm like doing all this other crap.
Oh, that's Scotty Works.
Rorik is like my bud. He's, you know, like
You know
He's
what?
from Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
He was,
set
he
foot
and
in our
Zeta
state. No.
were the first 2 people that I did an investigation with. I was offered to stay with the lady who used to handle this, and they invited me. She asked me just to sit with her so she
Scotty's
wouldn't
a
be
nice
alone.
guy. I mean, I like.
They
Scott.
invited me to walk through with them. And Lord Zeta had some stuff. We had a deceased relative that had just passed away. And at the end of the night, she said she needed to talk to me. She started telling me stuff about my house and everything, nailed it right on the money. And it was all supposed to came from the deceased aunt on my husband's side. And then Scott had, he was physically fighting. I had a camera showing his nose being smashed in where they were arguing, and it was pushing at him.
He had read a bunch of people at Mid-South, and it was the end of the day. He was like seeing Aztec temples. He was out of it, completely out of it. And we took him over to my hotel room, laid him out on the bed, and grounded him out. Just literally took grounding straps attached to his skin and connected him to the earth ground in the building electrical ground. And in 5 minutes, he was up walking around and normal. And he was like, I need to have one of these wristbands.
Wow.
And I said, it's just a much more efficient way of grounding out. You see, a medium starts absorbing. We're like a big capacitor. And if you don't believe that, walk across a carpet on a winter day and touch a doorknob. You're storing up energy. Well, mediums will do the same thing. If they're reading all these different energies, they have a certain amount of it that stays on them, and it can screw them up. It can screw up their own energy emission. So you have to ground it off. So I started telling all these mediums how to, ground off, and I'm pointing them to these little wristbands that you can get them on Amazon.com for like $6.95 or whatever, $6.95. Put it on your wrist, and then you slightly loosen the center screw on a wall outlet that holds the cover plate on, and clip it to the screw, and that's the electrical ground in your house. So you can literally lay on your bed, clip it to that, watch TV for 15-20 minutes, and it bleeds all that crap right off.
Wow.
You could also put.
And what are they called? Grounding?
The grounding
It's
bolt.
called the static wrist guard. Like if you go to Amazon, Belkin makes a really good one. I think they're like $6.95 or something. But it's called a static wrist guard, and they're designed for electronic technicians that are working on sensitive electronics, not to destroy the electronics with static energy that builds up on their skin. But it also grounds you out. That's how it works. It grounds your body to ground. The benefit of it is if you're a medium and you've been picking up all this energy, it grounds that energy off and you're not carrying it anymore.
What about the energy that we absorb as protection to ourselves?
That doesn't...
Is that going to destroy that?
No, because that's internal. That's your internal energy.
Okay.
That's not going to be effective. What
You're
this
just
does
talking
is
the
take the
outside
surface
stuff
charge
that's
off of
been
you.
lingering, like a film.
The stuff that's not yours.
Okay.
It's just stored on the outside of your skin like a capacitor would
I think I
store.
should definitely have that with the places I'm in and as much as I'm in.
Everybody that works around this sort of stuff should have it. Should just go home and spend 15 or 20 minutes grounding out after the end of the day.
Did you tell them about the fibromyalgia?
The fiber